Welcome to episode 2
Yes.
of David and Goliath. I'm David.
I'm Goliath.
Hi Goliath. Nice to meet you. Yeah. Oh, no way. So last week we recorded our first podcast. It was very fun.
It seems like it's worked so far. Kira seems way calmer when we're gone based on the video of her that I've watched.
You watched it in the gym for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, but I peeped in to see what she was doing throughout the gym session, and she seemed to be okay.
I have now put the camera on the floor.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we'll actually be able to see what she's actually doing.
Yeah.
Maybe we can check in on her more often.
Yeah.
The next time we're out, which is tomorrow, when we go to the gym. What's tomorrow? Push day. So tomorrow we're gonna do push day. How are you feeling in the gym?
Sometimes I feel stronger. I feel like when I'm doing like certain push or pull exercises, I feel way stronger. But there are certain exercises that are just like incredibly painful for me. So like the what do you call it? Like the butterflies and the reverse butterflies.
Yeah.
That's how they call it in Spanish. I don't know how they say it in English. Are very difficult. The hamstring exercises are very difficult for me.
Yeah.
And the abductor and the adductor are like very difficult for me. Like I feel very weak in those.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm obviously way more fragile than you.
Yeah.
I have way more injuries.
Mm-hmm.
The main one that really bothers me is the hamstring one.
Yeah.
Because I've ripped both my hamstrings many times.
Yeah, but how?
Doing sports.
Oh,
playing football usually, yeah. Like sprinting, and then it just rips, and then
Yeah.
I'm in a wheelchair for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That's happened to both legs as well, so they're both
Weak.
terrible. Yeah. Like I always say, like one of the reasons I also started doing jiu-jitsu was because I can't run.
Yeah.
Like if I get into trouble, I can't run.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to like stay put and fight.
Yeah.
And throw down.
Yeah, because if I run,
you're gonna pull both.
I'm
your
gonna
hamstrings.
rip my hamstring, and then I'm just gonna get beaten up, and then I have zero chance.
But then why do you run in the gym?
Well, in the gym I'm warming up.
Oh, okay.
Like I'm not. If I feel my hamstring, like I'm warming up. Like I don't go into the treadmill and go straight into the sprint. Right, I do it towards the end, and I don't even sprint. I'm just jogging fast.
Yeah.
But
can you feel your hamstring tighten? Okay.
Like when I do the hamstring curls.
Yeah.
It's almost like I do it to the verge where it feels like, oh, I might rip it here, and then I go slow. That's why I go so slow on the hamstring machine, and I do low. I'm very weak on hamstring machine compared to you, especially. Even though my legs are way stronger. Yeah. My hamstring is just terrible.
Your legs are not completely stronger than mine. My ankles apparently are my calves, I guess.
Yeah, your calves. But I also did rip my calf.
Okay. So what haven't you ripped?
Okay, let's
I feel like we're like comparing.
Yeah.
I haven't ripped anything, okay? So
yeah, I'm winning. Like, okay, let's start from the head. I have a neck impingement, which means that if I get hit in the head by a football or a fist, my body possibly just goes numb and tingly and starts moving by itself.
Sense.
Yeah. And both my shoulders have been dislocated.
Yep.
My left one, way more.
Yep.
My wrists are very weak. Like when I punch with my wrists, they hurt.
Yep.
I think I.
You've slipped
a disc on my right hip when I was playing football one time. I ripped both hamstrings like plenty of times. I can't remember how many times I ripped them.
Pause.
Yeah.
I don't think you can slip a disc on your hip because the disc is in the spine.
Yeah, I done something to my hip joint, to the socket.
Yeah.
To the point where I kicked the ball, and then I just couldn't walk, and I didn't go to hospital because I was afraid of telling my parents. So I just limped around for a couple of weeks.
And now you're fine.
No, I still feel it when I'm doing like the warm up in the morning.
Oh my god.
I still feel something there. My right calf, I completely tore it. To the point, if I show you a picture of when I tore it,
Yeah.
it was, well, my whole leg was bruised. Even though I just tore my calf, my whole leg was bruised.
Yeah.
And my right calf ended up half of the size of my left calf.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like literally half. And I swim at wind times. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is, I'm very fragile.
You win. Okay.
Yeah, I win.
You win. You're also
Yeah.
the world's shortest man.
Facts. That's another disability too. I am just very crippled. But what I'm trying to say is, even though I have all these injuries, when I am consistently going to the gym, they are less of a problem. Even if it's marginally, they get stronger. That's just how the body works. They get stronger. To the point, like, my hamstrings now are feeling better.
Yeah.
They still have the thing where I can't like just sprint without warming up.
Yeah.
So like, if we ever get into trouble, you just run and you leave me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
You didn't need to tell me.
Okay.
Don't worry. I'm gone.
Yeah. I've seen you run though. You can't run. You're not gonna get far. But you'll get further than me.
Yeah. I just have to beat the slowest person there, so I'm good.
Yeah, so we've been gymming now for 6 weeks.
Yeah, more or less.
We have 2 weeks off, maybe for you.
Yeah.
And even in that 2 weeks, you were trying to be active.
Yeah.
For the benefit of your back.
Yeah.
Like you were stretching.
Yeah.
Walking.
So just so you know, Kira, I know it's of the utmost importance, but basically the day that Tarsh left for London, I went to the gym by myself. I did a few exercises, and I felt like it was like a dull pain in my lower back. So initially I thought it would be fine for me to continue stretching it. But I think that just exacerbated the issue in my spine. So this had happened before where I like had slipped my disc or like had a bulge in my spinal in my spine, which was putting pressure on my spinal nerve. But basically when I got back, like it was almost impossible to move, and because the bulge was pressing on my nerve, I feel like there were multiple times throughout that first day where my muscle was spasming because of how much like strain it was under and how much pain I had. But I had watched a lot of YouTube videos about the importance of continuing to move throughout that pain. Obviously not like an excessive amount of movement where you're damaging or hindering your ability to get better. But it's important that you continue move to let your body know like where exactly the pain is, because the body at the end of the day is an amazing organism, and it'll attack the places where you need to, and it'll heal the places where you feel pain. Yeah,
and that's inflammation, right?
Yeah.
Inflammation heals the body.
Exactly.
I know a lot of people disagree with that. They like the people who do cold plunges and stuff to recover the body, because ice puts down the inflammation, and I think that's even taught in medicine, medical, right? Like rice. Have you heard of rice?
No.
When you like do something, like have a sprain or something, it's rice, rest, ice, compression, and elevation. Yeah. So they still tell you to put ice on it, which reduces the inflammation. But I feel like, because I've Googled this as well, because I'm always injured, I've Googled this as well. It's like, from what I found, it's like literally almost 50-50, where some people say you should reduce the swelling, and the other 50% are like, that's the body's natural ability, so you should leave it.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like on that first day, for me, like I did take a lot of painkillers and
ibuprofen.
Yeah, exactly. I took ibuprofen to reduce the swelling because like the pain was literally so intense that I couldn't like I couldn't even think about anything besides my injury. So in those cases, I feel like it's a balance, right? Because if the swelling is too bad and you're in so much pain, like it really hinders your ability to do anything else. So I feel like for me, at least on that first day, I felt like ibuprofen was appropriate. But beyond that first day, once the pain was down to a manageable level, like I do think for me it was appropriate to let my body run its natural course, because I do think like I guess it just depends on how long you want to take to heal as well.
Yeah.
Because a lot of swelling initially will probably mean that your body is actively recovering, but if you're constantly suppressing that, then it'll just take longer and longer for your body to heal.
Yeah. I don't know, because sometimes I when I do ice baths, when like runners do a lot of ice baths, but I think they mainly do it for joints.
Yeah.
Like they mainly do it to ease the soreness of joints, which it definitely does.
Yeah, but you don't do an ice bath for pain reduction, or I mean swelling reduction, right? You do it for like the adrenaline.
Well, me when I do it like day to day, it's more for mental toughness.
Yeah.
And the benefits of ice, cold plunge, the benefits of cold water, which when I was doing this, when I was doing the cold showers and stuff, I would have, if I take a hot shower, I have dry skin. My scalp is dry, like flaky, even though I'm using anti-dandruff shampoo, is dry.
Yeah.
And I would get more like pimples and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I did like a course of cold showers, the pimples wouldn't come out. My skin was never dry. Obviously not after the first shower, but like if you do it for like a week in a row, you realize that your skin stops drying, and it's obviously because of the cold water, because the hot water dries out your skin, obviously.
Yeah.
So the cold water, I was mainly doing it for the benefits of it and the mental toughness. When I did like a 48 hour running challenge one time, where you run 4 kilometers every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Oh wow! So you were taking short, like your sleep window was compressed.
Yeah, but I couldn't even sleep because I had so much adrenaline. So for 48 hours, I barely slept. And 48 kilometers is also more than a marathon. So I ran more than a marathon in 48 hours with no rest. I ate I was just laying down basically trying to rest.
Yeah.
And
for 48 hours.
Yeah. And I had to take an ice bath because my legs were destroyed.
Yeah.
Like it would take it was 4 kilometers, but the first 2, like a kilometer, maybe even 2, was like super slow and painful until my legs really warmed up. And my joints were messed up, my ankles, and I took one cold bath, one ice bath, after like the 8th run maybe.
Yeah.
I have a video on my Instagram. And that actually helped a lot. So the pain was gone, and I was out, and it felt like I went back a few runs in terms of pain.
Okay.
But yeah, so our gym journey, you also did a period of gym with Soph as well, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, was it around the same length of time currently, or you did longer with Soph?
I think it was probably around the same length of time. Like, if I remember correctly, we started in maybe May and then continued into July consistently.
Yeah.
So right before you got back to Spain from your travels abroad. So with Soph, I feel like I hadn't worked out for very, very long before I started working out with Soph. So that first session I did at the gym was like a real shock to my body, honestly. And I woke up the following day with like sore all over. And it was more of a full body workout too. I feel like that the gym that I went to was more like it wasn't CrossFit, they call it cross training style.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like intense high reps.
Mm-hmm.
So like for example, like a set of 40 sit-ups, 60 sit-ups, and then 80 sit-ups wouldn't be out of the question. Like it was that kind of energy. Also at that gym, there are a lot of like there's like squat racks, and that's where I did my like first deadlift and like weighted squat with the bar.
Yeah.
And for that, I felt like I was not prepared for that at all. Like like I said, like I had slipped my disc like in my very early 20s, and I had always felt like a numb pain. So I was very scared of hurting myself in that class. And even though I started a lightweight, like I felt like a lot of pressure from other people and like the trainers to increase the weight, even though I knew I didn't have the right technique.
Yeah, there's a lot of peer pressure in the classroom. Did you have someone to correct your technique if you this is your first time?
Yeah. There was the trainer there, but of course there's like a whole classroom filled of people, or like a whole class filled with people. So he wasn't like a dedicated trainer, but he did try to correct my technique when he saw that I was doing something wrong. But I'm sure there are a lot of movements, like even with my squats, I feel like I wasn't necessarily hinging properly. So I'm sure there was a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah. And at the end of SOF, because that's when I came back to them from South America, and you looked great.
Yeah.
Like, because when I left, you was very skinny.
I was a stick, yeah.
And when I came back from South America, you had shape to your body.
Yeah.
How was that like? Did you notice it as you were, because 2 months is not a long time to notice a big change. So I feel like, were you also, before you started working out with Soph, eating a lot more before you started working out, or how was your diet stuff?
I think that maybe I was eating more, but I feel like once I started exercising with Soph, and the thing is, we weren't doing like a few classes a week either. We were doing like 3 classes of that intense cross-training class, and then maybe 2 really long yoga sessions a week. So it was a lot of exercise. My body was adjusting because I hadn't worked out that long at all in a very long time. So I felt like my appetite was uncontrollable. Like I was eating, like, I can't even count how many calories I was eating. I'm gonna guess like maybe 4,000 calories. So I do feel like, because I also had my ticket restaurant card during that time. So I would get takeout as well and eat like burgers and fries. So it wasn't like clean eating either, you know what I mean? It was a combination of junk food and just being like really, really hungry all the time and snacking in between work. So I do feel like I had a lot of body dysmorphia during that time because I was very used to my body looking like very, very thin. And even though it wasn't healthy, like I feel like I always got a lot of comments about like how thin and like fit I looked, even though I knew personally that I looked unhealthy. And I know you told me I didn't look healthy during that time. But a lot of other people did tell me that I did look like thin, which in society, like I interpreted as like more positive, and like I really internalized like looking that way, and then suddenly just being hungry all the time and gaining probably 10 kilos within the span of 2 weeks. Like for me, like when I looked at myself in the mirror, I really thought I looked fat, which is crazy because retrospectively I know I wasn't fat at all.
Because I feel like the people that would have said skinny to you in a positive light, I feel like also if you were fat, those same people would have maybe said that you were fat in like a positive way, like a body positive way, and I feel like, but that's a very extensive topic, right? Body positivity in this day and age. And for me, because I don't have those same views, I was able to, like, I will tell you, like, because I'm sometimes too honest. I'll tell you, that you're too skinny.
Yeah.
And I think if a stranger was to tell you that and you had problems,
Yeah.
it would probably affect you negatively.
Yeah.
But coming from a friend to tell you, hey, look, you're a bit too skinny, rather than your other friends who told you in a good way, oh, you're so skinny.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of truth is more beneficial, is more body positive. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you need to be more positive with your body and gain some weight.
Yeah.
And the other friends would maybe tell you, oh, you're fine, your body's fine the way it is.
Yeah.
And you, in your mind, as you said, you don't agree with them.
Yeah.
But I feel like that can play into like you feeling like you don't need to change because you're.
I will say, like, you weren't the only one who told me I was too skinny. Like, Nicole, for example, was very concerned when she saw me and, like, wasn't sure, like, what was going on. And, like, she was, like, constantly monitoring and asking me, like, about my weight.
Yeah.
And, like, if anything was wrong, like, health-wise. And I do think a lot of people were concerned about it, I'd say. But didn't look that much deeper than surface level. I feel like the majority of my friends, like, didn't really comment on it. Like, I feel like we don't...
They probably thought of it, no?
Yeah, they probably thought it, but I feel like there's a culture within, like, at least my friend group, like, everyone's always commenting, like, oh, you're fat, you're skinny, you're fat, you're skinny. And, like, within this friend group, I feel like most of us, like, don't really comment on each other's bodies, in, like, period. You know what I mean? Unless asked.
Yeah.
But I do think, like, growing up, like, my parents would tell me that I was chubby, and I do think at a point, like, when I had just moved to Spain, like, for me, I know I wasn't chubby, but for me, I was, like, a little bit overweight, just my set point weight, because, like, I was drinking a lot, eating, like menu del dias. I know. The menu del dias, like, eating a late dinner. So I do know that I had, like, a lot of, like, extra fat on me. But I don't think what people could see when I had lost all that weight was that I had also lost all the muscle I had as well. And I do think that part of the problem with like the way my body was at that time was that I was, like, deeply unhealthy as well. Like, my diet, like, I was eating, like, such shit food, and I couldn't gain any weight for some reason.
It's funny because I feel like culture has a big impact on this too. Because you were saying that your mum said you were fat. Sorry, what did you say?
They said I was chubby.
Your mum said you were chubby when you were probably a good weight, right?
Well, I was, like, 15, like, I was probably, like, 15 pounds heavier than I am now. So I think for me it was like...
but from a healthy...
From a health standpoint, like, I was
probably... a good weight. And now, when I look at you, I feel like you're at a good weight now. Compared to... Before. But, like, in terms of objectively... Right now, I feel like you're at a healthy... being a healthy weight is a big spectrum, but I think you're in the spectrum of you're in a healthy weight now. But it's funny because you were probably in the healthy spectrum when your mum called you chubby. And when we went to London, my mum said you were too thin.
Oh yeah.
So culturally, it's like maybe like that's obviously all culture, right? In your culture, the women are probably like way thin, and like the thin is like petite, and that's how they view healthy. And in my mum's the village life, it's like if you're too skinny, it's maybe because you're not eating well. So it's like
I feel like a huge component of it is genetics too. Like on my mom's side, for example, like my mom and my aunt, for example, are extremely petite. They've been petite their entire lives. So like more skinny than tall, than height. I mean, more like weight than height.
Mm-hmm.
But on my dad's side, for example, my aunt is like has been curvy her entire life, and they would always call her chubby. And even though like I guess relatively compared to my mom, who's a stick, like she is chubby, but compared to like the most Western women, she's not chubby at all. And I do think that like for a lot of people, they can work towards like a specific body all they want, but their body can only go so far. Like my body is more prone to being like lean and like straight up and down than to like have a bum and boobs and curves, right? Like there's like I could try to work towards having a bum in a gym, but there's only so much my body can do with that training.
And so you at the end of this period with Soap, how did you feel compared to when you started?
I definitely felt way stronger. I felt better. I just felt like more confident in my clothes too. But the strangest thing was that like I would feel that confidence directly after a workout as well. Even though like psychologically, like mentally, I knew that before and after like was exactly the same. Like when I looked in the mirror, I just felt better about what I was seeing.
But that's an actual thing. Because at the end of a workout, your muscles are pumped.
I see. There's more blood there.
There's more blood there into the areas that you've worked out. So, and obviously because you are constantly looking at yourself in the mirror, as everyone does, you notice like the even the slightest
the slightest changes.
You can notice it, and that's why people like the pump. And like people have pump covers in the gym, like they don't want people to see them without the pump, and they wear these oversized hoodies. And then once they get some blood into their arms, then they take their hoodies off, and
that's
they
so
feel
silly.
confident. Yeah, it's silly. But so you felt really good. Why did you stop?
I feel like the habit I had built was going to the gym with Soph. So once we weren't together, like it was very difficult for me to continue the habit because there was like a huge component that was missing. Like that was kind of like the thing that we did together. It wasn't just like us working out. It was like us being able to socialize together and catch up and chat. So I think I had gone to New York after July for 2 weeks, and then like a week after we ended up leaving for Southeast Asia. So like it was just I just didn't have like the habit built up to continue, and we didn't really exercise or anything like that when we were in Southeast Asia.
That's funny because like in a psychological way, for me a habit would be like a habit has triggers, right? Something triggers you to do something. So for you the habit was Soph and the gym time, like Soph's ready, now it's time for gym. And when Soph wasn't there, that trigger didn't go off for you, and you didn't feel like going to the gym.
It's also like I feel like it's also what we have too, is accountability of like if I was to like so I feel like there was a period of time when we hadn't really hardened our routine yet, and we would wake up. Sometimes we would take Kira out on a walk first. Sometimes we would stretch and meditate first. Then we would come back and like maybe sometimes we'd eat breakfast. And then if we ate breakfast, that meant we couldn't directly go to the gym after. You know what I mean? It's like our routine wasn't hardened. I feel like once we decided that we're going to go to the gym like first thing in the morning after walking Kira, like there wasn't much room for debate. Like there wasn't time for me to think about like, oh well, maybe I can do this first. Like it was just kind of like a go thing where like we don't have to make any decisions. Like this is just what it's going to be. But then secondarily, it's like it was great to have her, and now you of course to like keep me accountable for actually going to the gym, because even if I don't want to go to the gym and my motivation's low one day, like I made a commitment to someone else, not just myself.
That's because when we were separated, you still went gym. Obviously you got injured, which happens.
I feel like that was something different though. Like I feel like when like when you had left, like we had gymmed for at least 2 to 3 weeks at that point, and I had already started seeing the benefits of going to the gym, like literally seeing like the amount that I could push and pull go up, and that was motivating.
Yeah, because I remember you sending me messages like, look how strong I am.
Yeah. And then I...
and then you fucking up your back.
Yeah, I know. And then I backed down.
Yeah, because when I came back, when you were in Morocco, I also went with Tarek.
Yeah.
We didn't go as many times as I would have gone, because he had work and I wanted to only go with him. So I feel like for me, because I had a whole, like 2 years maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe less than 2 years, in and out of injury sometimes, but I had cemented gym in my life.
Yeah.
And I feel like right now that that same feeling is kind of back.
Yeah.
Because back then it was an actual habit, like routine. Yeah. And that feels like it's back now. And I also feel like my body is accustomed now to the routine we have, because we work out every muscle twice a week.
Yeah.
Each muscle has like 72 hours rest.
Yeah.
Which is what I was doing before. And now I feel like when we're consistently going, my muscle is now recovering in time for the next session, which is what it was doing before. So I feel like my body is now adjusted to that routine again, so now I can like kind of push myself a bit more each time.
Got it.
Which really feels good for me. We have recently switched up our routine a little bit.
Yeah.
Which has kind of thrown off other stuff. Like we don't really meditate anymore.
Yeah.
So we need to, after this podcast, rejig our
for sure
schedule to fit in meditation, because I know you have trouble with meditation and so do I.
Yeah.
But thanks to that Indian guy, we're gonna try some different meditations until we find one that works.
Yeah.
But it's also important to also note that even the right meditation for you might not work the first time.
For sure.
Because maybe you might not be in the right state of mind, or something might be on your mind.
Yeah.
And you can't dismiss something after just trying it one time.
Yeah.
So but I think if we keep consistent with it, we'll eventually find what works for both of us.
Yeah.
Because I feel like because what we do now, we don't have our phones in the room when we're sleeping.
Yeah.
You sometimes do. But we don't have our phones in the room, which really does help me sleep. Because when you were in Morocco, I was taking my phone into the room and I wasn't getting any sleep.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But it's because you were checking your phone at night? Or
yeah,
what?
I was like scrolling through TikTok at night.
see.
It's comfortable to just scroll through TikTok at night before you feel tired. Because I would do it until I felt tired, which is what I would do many years, like, way back.
Yeah.
But then it can take you ages to feel tired before you sleep. But even if you don't feel tired and you go into the bedroom without your phone, you eventually sleep anyway, because you're so bored. There's nothing to do.
I do think that is... Yeah, I completely agree with everything you said. I do think that when like now that my phone's outside of the room, and if I'm not feeling tired, then I pick up my book, like maximum 2 pages later, I'm just like completely exhausted, like yawning.
And I'm a slow reader.
Yeah, you are.
And you're like, okay, it's time for bed. Okay, me too.
Boop.
Yeah.
I do think, as you know, I've deleted Instagram off my phone, and to get that reward hit, like sometimes I'll go on YouTube Reels, which is just like
it's the same thing.
But no, the content is nowhere near as good as TikTok.
The algorithm's not as good. Yeah,
I think that's the thing. I think the algorithm isn't as good. Like the content that I get on YouTube is mainly from people that I already subscribe to.
Yeah.
So, and they may just not have as addictive content out on YouTube. So I do think that not scrolling constantly through TikTok has really helped me with my focus as well.
Yeah.
And I was spending, when I had TikTok on my phone, I was probably spending 3-4 hours a day
which
sometimes.
is normal for most people.
Yeah, which is really normal for a lot of people.
Which
but
is crazy.
But that's insane. Like
Yeah.
that's half of a full
Yeah.
work day. You know what I mean?
I can rack up 4 hours of TikTok just when I'm on the toilet.
Yeah, probably. I can see that.
Yeah.
I could see that for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, our routine is, I'm quite happy with our routine, and I feel like we're seeing the benefits of it. I wanted to ask, because both your workout periods were roughly the same. How do you feel compared to when you were doing the CrossFit with Soph and yoga versus weights and stretching now?
I think because the weights and stretching are more targeted, and I've done them consistently over the course of 2 months now, I do feel like I see the benefits quite clearly in like other things that I do. So first and foremost, like I feel like my hip flexors, the challenge, the stretch that we do to stretch our hip flexors, like that's become way easier for me.
And
like
you look like your range is way more forward.
Yeah, like when we first started, there was just so much pain on my knee because I couldn't stretch that well. So most of the pressure was on my back knee that's supporting my weight, as opposed to like pushing forward on my front leg. So that's definitely a huge benefit. And I think stretching out my hip flexors and my hamstrings have naturally led me to be able to arch my back while doing a downward dog as well.
Downward dog looks very good.
So not that it's like the perfect form, but before I couldn't even do a downward dog without rounding my back if my legs were straight, and now I can kind of do it. So like just seeing incremental changes like that is really motivating for me. When I was doing yoga before, like I feel like I don't think I was consistent enough with yoga to actually see the benefits. So I'd probably had done like 10 to 20 classes within those 2 months, which is quite a bit, but at the same time, like you're just doing so many postures that it, like if you were really challenged in something, like you're not focused on that specific thing for too long. So I feel better now, probably, I'd say.
And also the diet. Sounds like the diet's way better now than when you were working.
Because you remember when you were here last summer, like we were eating 100 burgers every day. Ooh, I love me a 100 burger, honestly.
You haven't had one recently. I had one with Tarek.
Yeah. I feel like I've also really shifted my mindset since we were here last in Valencia. Like I feel like now that I'm working again, sometimes I'll catch myself going back into that mindset where I'm like, so what if we eat out like a few times a week? So what if we order stuff in? But like during the months when we had just gone back from Southeast Asia, like I feel like we were really trying to be on a budget and like eat clean and like eat well and stuff. So it's definitely a shift from what it was like before, because you remember, right?
Yeah. Good times. But like for me especially, well, I have IBS. So the things that I eat, it's weird because like I can eat really healthy stuff, and my IBS is still IBSing. And I can eat junk, and the IBS might be better that week.
Have you ever noticed a correlation between like what you eat and the IBS?
No, I haven't, because like when we were tracking our calories, I wasn't really. Because when we were tracking our calories, that would have been the perfect time to record my my IBS stuff, my bowel movements, but I wasn't doing it. And I think that's something I would like to start recording going forward. I get these adverts now for these apps, IBS apps.
God.
Yeah, where you can. There was some ad on TikTok where it was like there's an app that you can record where you can rate your poo. And you can even take pictures if you want to take pictures.
Oh my god, that's too much, I think.
And well, it was aimed in like a medical thing where it's like you can show your doctor that your poo. Well, doctors actually do ask for poo samples when you have stomach problems. So I don't think I would use the app, but I do think I want to keep a poop diary.
Yeah.
And then I can also just screenshot my Fitbit while I'm eating that day, and if anything, like if there's any correlation, or like a pattern of, okay, if I eat this, my poop goes right, then maybe I can catch it. I was gonna say, like us eating healthy for the most of the time that we've been here, I do really feel like you can tell the difference, because when I eat healthy, like in Asia we weren't really eating that healthy, right? We were eating a lot, and maybe it's also because we were moving around a lot. My sleep wasn't as good. But now that we've eaten healthy for the most part, like I would say I've been happy with our diet since we've come back.
Same.
Because, I feel like we've done the Atomic Habit way, where we're still treating ourselves. Like we're still eating Maria cookies and ice cream and stuff. Whilst also keeping our calories in a deficit. Getting enough protein, which is like the main thing, because we're trying to be bodybuilders. And I feel like that's really helped our mood and our sleep. Like we may some nights I don't get enough sleep, but I still don't feel like my body's in a bad way, because my diet's obviously, it feels like my diet's helping me get better quality of sleep.
For sure.
Like it may be like 7 hours compared to 8, but I'm still getting enough recovery in the sleep to where it's not like I'm not waking up feeling shitty.
I agree. I do think that for the most part, when I wake up in the mornings, like I've had a complete rested night. There will be a few one-off cases here and there where I really needed extra sleep, and I'll take a nap during the day. But those are few and far in between. I think there's also something nice about like actually being able to track your calories and know what's in the food that you're eating, and know that like there's no preservatives in there, or like additional salt, like, and just being able to control your food from that sense.
What's one thing that we eat consistently that you could do without?
The Mercadona pizza, probably. That's probably.
I mean, we've only had that like 3 times maybe in 2 months.
Well, here's my thing. So like, whenever I eat, I never consider anything a diet, because I don't ever want to like put such strict restrictions on my diet. Like if I want to go off script, like I will let my body do that. For the most part, I eat intuitively. So I like, my goals are to like eat healthy whole foods that are not like highly salted, like, you know, stuff like that. Like that's just a general objective I have. And that's why, like, for the most part, I do consume healthier foods, because I want to do that. But like if there's like a pizza here and there, or like an ice cream here and there to treat myself, like I'm not going to restrict myself. As long as I'm, for the most part, like eating good whole foods.
And I think when you say for the most part, you mean like long term, right? That's the goal. Like we're in this for the long term. Exactly.
And that's the thing too, like if I don't work out for 1 day, 2 days, like it's not going to change the entire trajectory of my fitness journey. It's the same with food. Like if I were to like go off-road, off-map for 1 or 2 days, that wouldn't change like my diet or my body either. But it's more about like being consistent and building the habit and like actually internalizing those habits into who you are, which makes the difference in the long run.
And I think it's important what you said there, 1 or 2 days. Because then after that it can be a spiral. Well, then you lose the habit, right? Like you break your promise to yourself. Like have I shown you my habit tracker? So in my habit tracker, this is also from Atomic Habits, like if you miss 1 day, if I miss 1 day of my habit, I haven't tracked it in a while, so I need to get back to tracking it. If I've got a formula set up in my spreadsheets where if I miss one day, well, it's not actually a formula, I do it manually. But if I miss one day, it doesn't deduct from the overall point, because every day if I do it, it's 1 point.
Oh, okay.
And at the end of the year, the goal is to get 365.
Yeah.
Right? You want to do your habits every day. That's what they are. But that's not realistic. So if I do it every day, it's 1 point. If I miss a day, it's 0. If I miss the next consecutive day, it's 0. But if I miss the third consecutive day, it's a -1. And the idea is that because it's over a long term, like, I think you gain something quicker than you lose it. I think that was...
You lose something quicker than you gain it. You lose the habit much faster than it takes you to build a habit.
Yeah. What? Is that the case? Because then my formula is wrong.
No. That's right.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so it's also the compounding, not compounding, but it's like you want to see at the end of the year, like if you zoom out of the, because I have a chart with it too. Yeah. A line chart. Yeah. If you look at the line chart as a whole, it's like when I was doing it well, it's usually a mostly upward trajectory, and the little -1s, they don't really matter over the course of a year. I don't know where I was going with that, but so I was concurring with 1 or 2 days max. Yeah. Because I also, when I had injuries, also tracking your habits is are you still tracking your habits in your journal?
Yeah, but not so well.
Honest, yeah. Like, I feel like when you track it in a visible way, you can correlate positive things to, and also negative things. Like, when I have an injury, the habits go down. Yeah. And then, like, maybe my habits maybe stagnate for a while, and then an event happens where, like, I sign up to, I don't know, jiu-jitsu or something. I sign back up to jiu-jitsu, and then that one change...
Yeah, will change other things.
Will change all the habits. Like,
and change your motivation.
Yeah, like, my jiu-jitsu should have no impact on me practicing the guitar. Yeah. But it does. Yeah. And, like, my jiu-jitsu should have no impact on me reading a book. Yeah. Or watching a course, or, I don't know, doing my Spanish. But it does. Yeah. That's the snowball effect. Yeah. Like, doing one thing leads to the other.
Tired.
Okay.
My back hurts.
Okay.